Let me talk to you for a moment.
Not the version of you that smiles in public. Not the version that says, "I'm fine." The real one. If you've been through a lot in life, you don't announce it. You don't lead with your pain. You carry it quietly, like background noise you've learned to live with. And most people never notice. This video isn't about trauma in the dramatic sense. It's about the psychology of people who've endured things that changed them. Things that didn't break them, but restructured them. If that sounds like you, stay with me. You don't react the way people expect. One of the first things people notice about you is how calm you are. Not peaceful calm, controlled calm. You don't overreact. You don't panic easily. You don't get excited over small things. And people sometimes mistake that for coldness. But what they don't see is this. You've already lived through situations where reacting didn't help. When you've experienced real chaos, emotional, financial, relational, your nervous system learns something important. Most things are survivable. So when something goes wrong now, your brain doesn't scream. It assesses, it waits, it watches. Your calm isn't apathy, it's experience. You trust slowly and selectively. If you've been through a lot, trust doesn't come naturally anymore. Not because you are suspicious of everyone, but because you've learned that trust is powerful, and power should be handled carefully. You don't rush closeness. You don't open up just because someone seems friendly. You take your time. You watch how people behave over time, not how they introduce themselves. You notice consistency. You notice effort. You notice what happens when things don't go their way. And when someone earns your trust, it's not casual. It means you've seen enough to believe they're safe. Not perfect, not flawless, but stable. The irony is, people sometimes take this personally. They assume you're distant, guarded, or uninterested. But what they don't understand is this. You don't give pieces of yourself lightly anymore. You've learned that once trust is broken, it doesn't just hurt, it changes you. So now you choose carefully. And that isn't fear, that's wisdom. You're independent, but not by choice. From the outside, you look strong, capable, reliable, like someone who always figures things out. But that independence didn't come from confidence. It came from necessity. There were moments in your life where you needed support, and it didn't show up. Moments where asking for help felt pointless. Moments where depending on someone left you disappointed. So you adapted. You learned how to handle things alone, how to problem solve, how to keep moving even when you were tired. And now, even when help is available, something in you hesitates. Not because you don't need it, but because relying on yourself feels safer. You don't like burdening people. You don't like explaining your struggles. You don't like being vulnerable unless you absolutely trust the ground beneath you. Your strength wasn't built in comfort. It was built in silence. You feel deeply, but express little. People often assume that if someone doesn't show much emotion, they must not feel much. That's rarely true for you. You feel deeply, sometimes more deeply than most, but you've learned how to contain it. You don't explode emotionally. You don't react impulsively. You don't let feelings spill everywhere, because you've seen what emotional chaos can do. So instead, you internalize. You process quietly. You sit with emotions rather than performing them. Your silence isn't emptiness, it's regulation. And when you finally do speak about how you feel, it's not dramatic, it's measured, thoughtful, and honest. You don't express emotions to be seen. You express them when they're real. You value peace over excitement. You don't crave intensity anymore. You don't chase loud environments, dramatic relationships, or constant stimulation. You crave peace, a calm space, predictable energy, people who don't drain you emotionally. Because you've lived through periods where life felt unstable, where your nervous system never fully rested, where peace was absent. So now, peace feels like success. Not boredom, not emptiness, safety. You choose quiet evenings over chaotic nights, depth over noise, stability over thrill. And if someone tries to pull you back into unnecessary drama, you step away without explanation, because you've already paid the price for chaos once. You're not going back. You're hard on yourself. Here's something most people never notice about you. You hold yourself to an incredibly high standard. You replay mistakes longer than anyone else does. You question your decisions. You push yourself even when you're exhausted. Why? Because when you've survived difficult things, your mind believes you should always be able to cope. So when you struggle now, it doesn't feel normal. It feels like failure. You give others patience. You understand their limits. But with yourself, you're less forgiving. You expect strength, consistency, progress. And when you fall short, you don't make excuses. You internalize it. You're not lazy. You're not weak. You're carrying expectations built from survival. You understand people too well. You're good at reading people, not because you studied psychology, but because you had to. You learned to notice tone shifts, body language, unspoken tension. You learned when to speak and when silence was safer. You can feel when something's off, even if no one says it out loud. That awareness makes you empathetic, but it also makes you tired, because you can't turn it off. You pick up on things others miss. You sense moods. You understand motives. And sometimes you wish you didn't. Because seeing beneath the surface means carrying more than your share of emotional weight. You don't want sympathy. If you've been through a lot, you don't want pity. You don't want people to look at you like you're fragile. You don't want your story reduced to pain. You want respect. You want people to recognize your strength without forcing you to explain how it was built. You don't want to be defined by what hurt you. You want to be seen for what you became. You survived. You adapted. You kept going. Not to be admired, not to be pitied, but because you had no other choice. And that quiet resilience, that's who you really are. If you've been through a lot in life, and this video felt familiar, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, you're not behind, and you're not failing at life. You adapted to survive. Your habits made sense when things were hard. Your emotional armor protected you when you needed it most. But survival skills aren't always meant to last forever. And the hardest part of healing is realizing that what once kept you safe might now be what keeps you stuck. You don't need to erase your past. You don't need to be softer or let it go overnight. You just need to recognize this. You're allowed to rest now. You're allowed to need support. You're allowed to move forward without carrying everything alone. Growth doesn't mean denying what you went through. It means honoring it and choosing not to live in survival mode forever. If you've carried more than most people ever see, That doesn't make you damaged, it makes you human. And if no one's told you this before, you've already done the hardest part.